Hi guys, so welcome back to my channel. It won't be a wig review today because obviously, as you can see, I'm just gonna be taking off my makeup and just kind of recapping about life and just things that I've been doing and how I feel and just releasing it on camera. I'm gonna be kind of just like journaling while I take off my makeup. But first, before I start that, I just want to give a shout out to, I don't know her last name. In my phone, she is Miss Jessica, Mama Tasha's niece. That's who she is. But for those of you who do not know, I used to be a server and a bartender at Texas Roadhouse. And one of my coworkers there, we all refer to her as Mama Tasha. Her niece did my hair. This is crochet. This is the Toshiana Waves. I bought it off Amazon. And like when I talk about like the vision of what I wanted, like this was it. This is completely it. I've wanted the wave of the dreadlock. I wanted the look of the dreadlock. But I've also been like researching faux dreadlocks and dreadlocks for the past couple of years. And I've been told that like single individual dreadlocks are not really good or productive or healthy when it comes to your natural hair and trying to grow it. And since length has always been an issue for me, I obviously don't want to do anything to hinder that. So this is just the Toshiana crochet. She braided my hair back. First of all, I went in and she washed it and cleaned it and conditioned it. And then she braided my real hair, cornrowed it back into about like 8 or 9 cornrows. And then she crocheted the hair that I bought on Amazon. And so I just want to like, I don't know if you'll ever see this, but like you just brought my vision to life. Like this is what I wanted. This is what I've wanted for the past like 3-4 years. In the past 3-4 years, I've gone into different hairstylists or different people's houses that do hair, and I've brought them hair and they've done my head, and I've had to like pretend like I really liked it, but then come home and within like 48 hours take my hair out. And I told my sister, I was like, this is the last time, like if I don't like the hair, if I don't like the style, if I don't like the way it's on my head, if this is it, if it doesn't come out like the way I've envisioned it this time, then I'm just going to chalk it up to like God letting me know that like faux locks is just not for me. It's not everything is for everybody, and I completely understand that. But I have wanted faux locks for the longest time, and I wanted this exact style. And I was looking up the Toshiana Waves on TikTok, and I was like, okay, let me see if they sell this type of hair on Amazon, which they do because it's Amazon. And so I researched like 15 different females on TikTok, just like, did they like it? Did they like it? Did they like it? How did it come out? How did it come out? And like every single time it came out exactly how I had envisioned it. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and try it. But the thing is too, is I layered it. So like this part is only like 14 inches and like this part is 24 inches. And I think that added to the overall like effect of the hair, you know what I mean? So again, like just want to come on there and say like I'm obsessed with my hair. Probably for the rest of the summer, I'm gonna keep my hair like this. I'm gonna get it redone probably in 8 weeks and just like keep redoing it. So yay. But I just want to come on here and like journal a little bit and just like talk about what I've been up to. So my fiance lives in like super rural deep Indiana, and just like complete opposite of like where I grew up, how I've lived my life, how I've structured my life, what I've done. Basically it's just complete difference. It's like suburban city life to like small town. And his family's great. My fiance's family is absolutely amazing. They love me and they love my kids, more importantly. But it is very different. It's very different. There is a Walmart there and that's it. It's just very different. I'm trying to figure out how to describe it. It's like a farmland for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. like it's just complete farmland. My fiance graduated with like 70 people in his class, 70, in his senior class. I graduated with like 700 people in my senior class. So like very, very small town, like everybody knows everybody. Like one of the stories he was telling us, I was over there for Memorial Weekend and for Mother's Day. But one of the stories he was telling us was like, there's a place in town where like everybody hangs out. It's like this pizza place. And I guess like the owner came in a little bit intoxicated, and one of his employees was sitting at the table. And I guess the owner went over and like called the employee like a really bad name, just like disrespectful. And the girl, 16 years old, went home and told her dad. So her dad posted on like the what's happening in Indiana Facebook or wherever their small town is. And like everybody in that small town has boycotted that pizza place. Like no one's going there, to the point where like my fiance drove past that place and it said, like there's a sign out that said on the door, it was like this spot is closed due to senior activities. But it really wasn't closed to senior activities. It was closed because everybody in the town was like, I don't like the way this manager talked to this 16-year-old. And so everybody boycotted that place, and like no one's going there. Like small town drama. Like my fiance's mother, her sister lives like two, like, I don't want to say streets because they're not really streets. It's like you drive a couple distance and you see all this like farmland, and then like she's there. It's like, but she's close by, but she's like just on the opposite side of the farm. It's very different. So like my fiance's family lives on like multiple acres. So like you go down this gravel road, and it's the first house you see is my fiance's mother's house with her husband. And then you travel down the gravel road a little bit more, and it's my fiance's house and where I stay and our two kids. And then a little bit more further down the road is my fiance's brother's house with his wife. So like they all live on like this huge like family acreage of like just land. And it's so nice because whenever my daughters want to like, well, I mean, I'm still going to go out with them. If they're like, oh, if my 2.5-year-old is like, oh, I want to go see Gigi, who's my fiance's mother. When she gets to a certain age, I'll be like, oh, you can just run up and see Gigi. It'll just be up the gravel road. She won't even have to go into the street to get to her grandmother's house, because it's all on this like gravel road. It's all on this like same plot of land. Or if she wants to go down and visit her uncle, his house is some yardage down behind our house, and she doesn't have to go onto the street to go see her uncle. But it's just like very different, because it's like it's small town living. And like when I tell you, I have been going out there increasingly over the last couple years. Our daughter Natalie was born in September of 2020, and then we had the pandemic, so I wasn't allowed to go anywhere because I was living with my parents. So, and then I moved out in like May or June. I think it was June. Into my own apartment. And then I visited my fiance. He wasn't my fiance then, but I visited him for the first time when I was like 7 months pregnant with Natalie, my first daughter. And it was so weird. It was so weird because I was just like, there's no like mall, there's no movie theater, there's no like nothing, there's no like restaurants. Like they have this like thing called Schwann's, where it's like they get this catalog where like everybody in the neighborhood gets this catalog, and they order from this thing called Schwann's, which is like more food options than like the Walmart that's available. I mean, everybody goes to like the family butcher. Everybody goes to the family market. Like, it's so different than like how I grew up and how I lived in like this suburban life. So like back to what I was saying before, when I was like 6.5, 7 months pregnant with Natalie, our first daughter, I went out there to visit and I was so nervous because I was like, oh my gosh, like small town, it's just a bunch of like rednecks and guns and people who hate Black people, and like I'm gonna die out there. Because my fiance is white. And I didn't really like give it like any like care or concern, because I was like, I don't, like, my children are never gonna go out there. Like, I'm never coming out there. I'm just doing this to be respectful, just so like his family knows that like I'm not a bad person and I will take very good care of my child, their grandchild, or whoever they were to my fiance. Like, that was basically all I was doing. And fast forward like 2.5 years later, we have another daughter who's Adriana, who was in the NICU for 3 months. And I just got back from being in Indiana again, super, super rural Indiana again, for like 2 weeks. And let me just say, like, with everything going on in the world and stuff like that, I don't feel like I gave rural life a chance. I really didn't. But like I said, with everything going on in the world and all the shootings and just like all the information coming out just like about, you know, bad food and like how it affects your health and like the lack of the family like structure, one thing that I'm finding out about like rural places is like it's all about family. They go to their own like butcher, so where they know the meat's fresh. They go to the farmer's market just opened up Memorial Weekend in Indiana, where my boyfriend's from. It just opened up. So like we're gonna be going there to get like our fresh fruits and vegetables, and I'm gonna be going into the kitchen with my daughters and then teaching them how to make smoothies or teaching them how to make different like fruit popsicles, not from the grocery store where it's like loaded with sugar, but just like blending the fruits together from the fresh market and blending it together and then pouring it in like little ice cube popsicle things and having it freeze and then having them enjoy like a fresh treat. Like, so many things that I just did not realize about like small towns. I'm really starting to get my eyes open because, you know, my children's family is out there, and I respect what they've done in terms of sticking by my fiance and sticking by me when they didn't know me, in order to really like bond and form a relationship with, you know, my daughters, their grandkids. And so like this past 2 weeks, that's what I've been doing. It's just really kind of getting acclimated within the community. Don't get me wrong, my best friend lives out here still. My sister lives out here. I'm really, really close with, who's also like my other best friend. And so it's difficult because I can't share, you know, the everydays with them because it's 2.5 hours away. So like I ended up being in Indiana for Mother's Day and then for Memorial Weekend. And it was just a really beautiful way to kind of see where my life is headed. And you know, it makes me nervous because again, like, am I the only Black person out there? No, I've seen other African American children out there. It is few and far between. But I don't mind. Like, I grew up in a high school where it was like 98% white. So I grew up in suburbia where our family was the only Black family in the neighborhood. So being looked at, being stared at because, you know, I'm African American, it's not really anything new to me. I don't really care. but it's just like, I feel like small town living, I didn't give it the chance that I'm very grateful that I had this opportunity again to do. And I'm hoping that like we just continue to build on this and build on this. So that's what we did like Mother's Day weekend and Memorial weekend. So, you know, next week I will come on here and talk about like our adventures next week, because we're going back and forth right now because my daughter still has multiple surgeries coming up for her mouth, for her jaw. And so, you know, we're kind of splitting time between both places, but I'm really, really looking to like embrace the small town life and the small town culture and like what makes it, like, small towns have their own special things, big cities have their own special things, suburbia has their own special things. Like, everything has their own special pros to them that make them what they are. And I've grown up my entire life in suburbia, and now I'm like splitting my time between like super small town rural and like suburbia, and it's just like, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I feel healthy when I'm out there. I walk a lot more when I'm out there. I'm eating fresh food when I'm out there. It's open skies, it's fresh air, like all of these beautiful, wonderful things. I didn't care to embrace 3 years ago. I'm very grateful that I have the ability to have a second chance to embrace that. So that's what happened this week on small town living. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. Bye.